Philosophy. The primordial duality is present in the alchemical temple as well as in the human body. The temple is a place of invocation, prayer, meditation, and thanksgiving for soul and spirit. Like the body, it is a place of work and experimentation. In the temple, the laboratory and the oratory must be separate. It should be possible either by a curtain or any other way to separate or join the oratory and the laboratory at will. Together they form the alchemical temple. Stinking matter can enter the space, so can man with dirty hands. It is a space where the impurities of the physical world are purified. Here, the student's first test may be to have his hands covered with blisters after grinding a plant or a mineral in a mortar, or to have red eyes because of studying a hermetic and difficult text of Basil Valentine or Paracelsus. In the laboratory, the apprentice can see himself or see the universe in a boiling retort and may feel the boundaries fade between the flask and the self. As the laboratory work is proceeding, it is secondary work in the beginning. The student realizes that it becomes his primary reason for living, and the alchemist reaches the level of achievement where he is one with the laboratory, which itself is one with the universe. In the laboratory, which is a temple, the law is revealed in terms of books, herbs, and minerals, but even more so of one's own self. Knowledge of the law gives the adept the power of choice. In the alchemical temple, the student learns to read the signatures of nature and the laws which govern them. In following these laws and developing his own sense of the art, the alchemist will make the elixirs and the stones of the various realms through the process of separation, purification, and reunion. In the vegetable realm, one can practice with the keys and become familiar with the laws, for in the lesser work, the powers which are used can be easily manipulated and generally do not have serious consequences. In this realm, which, however, should not be taken lightly by the beginner, the temple laboratory can be more easily used, because, in this domain, the experiments or transmutations are less dependent upon the operator's psychological state. In the vegetable realm, freedom of spirit and soul is better protected from the world's violence than in the mineral realm, because negative reactions are less destructive in their effect. In this realm, however, one can already begin the process of the stone's formation in one's own heart. Now, if this is applied to oneself, it becomes the truth, and the inner stone will be the philosopher's stone. The focal point of the laboratory will transmute what is intangible. We learn that law is balance, justice, and that the laboratory leads us onto a higher path, the path of the true love, which gives more than it asks. Law gives you back according to what you gave, not as a reward but to maintain its own level of balance. The law is the structure of the work. In order to know the law, one must have the tool, catch a glimpse of the truth of the goal, and thus become a philosopher. However, more is needed. The temple must be activated, it must be a living temple, and when it starts moving and becomes an entity in this world, it becomes a lifestyle, a power, and an energy. As it is said that the Christian sees the world through the eye of Christ-like consciousness, it is also said that the student of alchemy sees the world as manifested. He is a reflection of the self to the self. The law and the knowledge are added to love. The alchemist's lifestyle is a quickly ascending path, unless he is slowed down by heavy baggage. The law states, "You shall be judged as you have judged." Love shows how judgments can be a heavy burden, and how much they can darken the true colors of spirit and soul in the laboratory. It becomes obvious that some desires can restrain: a new car, new clothes, a house, the pursuit of money, attachment to people, all can be heavy burdens. These things are neither good nor bad in themselves, but the lifestyle they call for should not be an obstacle on the path. To use them is good, to seek them at the price of one's time and tranquility is a waste of time and energy. It is not a matter of an arbitrary thing or a unique lifestyle. It is better for one who follows the path to let the path lead him and let him know what the day's necessities are. Life on the path must be progressively regarded as a gift. Each day is filled with its reality, and life itself takes on a theological dimension, we are told. The temple thus becomes the focal point of our goals and aspirations in life. All action of life enlighten us on this path with the conscious development of our inner one. Knowledge and love unite and develop within us. In a church or another place of worship, if we use one of the several forms of meditation, we must remember that the goal is not the place of worship nor the meditation itself. A path is only a means to reach enlightenment, to find the one God and fulfillment of life. Thus, the path of alchemy is not alchemy itself, but a means by which those who are on their own path learn the experience of the making of the stone of the self. Through this process, separation, purification, and reunion of the soul and body is achieved. Through this work, the law, the truth, and love are united, and when all the cycles are complete, they bring a new beginning, and alchemy becomes the stepping stone to a higher threshold. General principles of alchemy. Alchemy is evolution, and evolution is the raising of vibrations, the refinement or transmutation of the coarse into the subtle, of low frequencies into higher ones, of the physical into the etheric. Alchemy states that this is the only design and goal of all existence, and then indicates a path or a technique which can help nature to accelerate this process both within man and around him. This process might also be described as a search for perfection for a broader and better life. It is commonly agreed that the alchemical dream has been longevity of life, perfect health, and the capacity to transmute metals into gold, all this by means of the philosopher's stone. In reality, these attributes which satisfy materialists are accessory products to the deeper search for union with the higher self. This is an application of the Bible's quote, "Seek the kingdom of God and the rest shall be given to you in addition." However, the great art of alchemy or of hermetic wisdom, as opposed to some Oriental paths, does not try to deny the body or attempt to destroy the ego or the lower self. Alchemy doesn't attempt to elevate the self to higher realities by ascetic practices or purely meditative methods which lead the thought process to a resting point. On the contrary, spiritual energies are concentrated, focused, and manifested on the physical and material level by way of a more practical path. Body and spirit become the alchemical laboratory in which transmutation and acceleration of evolution occur. The body is gradually transmuted under the combined influences of purification, detoxification, and regeneration through the elixirs, which were prepared in the outer laboratory according to alchemical principles. Under the influence of the spirit and through love and discipline, the fundamental laws of the universe are progressively applied to daily life. These universal laws, inseparable from alchemical principles, are revealed through the study of the Kabbalah. All this does not mean that meditative practices have no place in alchemy. On the contrary, the first requirement in order to advance on this path is to invoke God, followed with the contemplation of nature. Not only is the alchemist concerned with the purification of metals and with the elimination of disease from the human race, but he states that alchemy as a science and art as well provides a means to synthesize all sciences and to train intellectual and spiritual faculties. In addition, alchemy differs from the other esoteric studies in that it emphasizes the practice of laboratory work strongly, where esoteric theories can be demonstrated and applied. When this work is developed, it will revolutionize orthodox medicine, natural therapeutics, agriculture, and the use of energy. It will change our concept of energy and life. Alchemy is transmutation, revolution, renewal, and evolution both on the physical and spiritual levels. The only obstacle is the lack of a certain quality of consciousness. As we previously mentioned, the alchemical process is a process occurring simultaneously with the inner and the outer. The physical purification of the body with preparations from the alchemical laboratory refine the energies and make them more receptive to the finer vibrations of the cosmos. The spirit increases its awakening and consciousness expands. This increased consciousness enables us to further penetrate into the elixirs of the laboratory, which reach then higher vibrations and raise ourself to a higher level. And thus the process continues and accelerates into an inner and outer spiral, into an evolution of consciousness. However, this process is rarely so easy. The causes of resistance are numerous until the inner consciousness enlightens the outer path. Then the advancing spiral can unfold without problem on the path. This inner consciousness can also manifest in outer service, because the goal of all genuine adepts is to help relieve the human race from its sufferings and its physical and spiritual misery. The acceptance of this goal is necessary and indispensable to advance on the path. The Kabbalah and astrology pulsations are concomitant with the practical work of alchemy. The Kabbalah and its glyph comma, the tree of life, serve as a tool to establish relationships among all things and between man as a microcosm with the outer macrocosm. This cosmic scheme serves many other goals. The astrology pulsations, when they are correctly understood and used in daily life, give us control over celestial influences, which means that we no longer are at the mercy of chance, and that we can attract the best part, the good influences, and avoid many negative influences. One who pursues practical work in the lab in conjunction with different aspects of alchemy will get in touch with various kinds of esoteric and exoteric subjects or techniques which harmonizes and eases the alchemical work. Thus, one who gains knowledge and understanding in alchemy also gains knowledge and understanding in all things, as alchemy is a path where all knowledge is systematized and transmuted into a unity where art is science and science is art. When it is accomplished, this synthesis is larger than the sum of the parts. Such a synthesis of art and sciences makes the law and the divine order resounding glory. Art and science unite to serve the spirit, which is life or the vital force. We are going to repeat, in part, information from our previous lesson. To understand alchemical literary allegories which are profoundly veiled and to separate the wheat from the chaff, which will aid your advance on the path, we must know, understand and practice the universal laws on which alchemy and necessarily all true occult and spiritual sciences are based. The origin of the universe is divine. The universe is a manifestation and an emanation of the absolute and one cosmic being. Thus all is one. All manifestations, whether material or of mental conception, exist by virtue of a dual or opposite nature. It is the law of polarity or duality. Each concept can thus be correctly defined by the relationship to its opposite. The evolution of ideas proceeds from synthesis of theses and antitheses, and the process is repeated again on a higher level. A further elaboration of the different aspects of polarity can be found in the study of the Kabbalistic tree of life. In effect, the themes of polarity such as sun-moon, male-female, creation-destruction, positive-negative, spirit-body are an integral part of alchemical and other occult symbolism. All physical manifestations, whether animal, vegetable, or mineral, the three realms, are composed of spirit, soul, and body, the three essential principles. They are respectively known in the alchemical terminology as mercury, sulfur, and salt. In the vegetable realm, the spirit is contained in the alcohol and is common to all plants, and it is released by all plants during the fermentation processing death of the body. The spirit mercury is the life force of the cosmos and its vital essence and represents the major point of interest of alchemy. The soul for of the vegetable world is the essential oil which all plants possess to various degrees. The soul for sulfur is the consciousness of the three worlds, kingdoms. The body salt of the vegetable world is what remains after the spirit has left. It is also called caput mortuum, dead head. It is then burnt until it turns into ashes and finally to white salt. In the mineral realm, the spirit is common to all the metals. It is the precious mercury of the philosophers, and is the most volatile of the alkahest. It enables us to isolate the seed of the metal, which is a vital stage in the preparation of the philosopher's stone. The practical work of the alchemy lab, whether we mean the inner or outer lab, includes three basic processes which are separation, purification, cohabation. These three processes are the basis of the evolutionary process of all alchemical work. It is also the work of nature, and alchemy assists in accelerating the process. If we look at the lesser work or the lesser circulation of the vegetable kingdom, we see that in nature, when a plant dies, its body is biodegraded and its essential principles return to the earth to be used in the life cycle of other plants. The cycle continues unless an animal eats the plant, in which case the vibrations of the plant are transmuted to a higher level by the alchemical power of the living animal realm. In the external alchemical lab, an herb is separated into its essential principles, the oil, the alcohol, and the caput mortuum. Each principle is then purified by using heat, the fire, through distillations, extractions, and calcinations. The final step is cohabation, which represents a rebirth on a higher level. Thus the plant is taken out of the biodegradation cycle and is reborn through the raising of its vibrations to a level where it can be used for a higher purpose, that is medicine in the animal realm. The same process in the mineral world results in the preparation of the philosopher's stone, greater circulation, and several other elixirs of lesser importance. The medicines which are prepared through alchemical methods are more efficient than any other vegetable medicine because they contain the three essential principles in a purified and cohabited state. The elixirs of the mineral realm are generally of higher vibrations, and deeper effects than those extracted from the vegetable realm. All matters are composed of fire, thermal energy, water, liquid, air, gas, and earth solid. A sensible and careful use of these four elements is an integral part of alchemical manifestations. The quintessence or fifth essence is found within the four elements but is none of them. It is one of the three essential principles known as the mercury of the philosophers. Alchemical practice. Since we cannot begin new experiments before we study distillation, in the theoretical part of our lessons, we shall first pay attention to the elements that we must know before approaching the task of the practical installation of our laboratory. In an ancient Rosicrucian document, it is said that the brother alchemists must be economical in their work and operate with a minimum of expenses. We shall apply this saying to the installation of our laboratory. A lot of the material can be obtained either as second-hand or quite cheaply. Here is a beginning list. Little glass flasks with ground glass stoppers, small glass yogurt containers, sealed jars with wide mouths such as coffee jars, juice jars, mason jars, etc. Glass containers from 4 to 25 liters. Plastic dish used as drainer for fresh cheese, plastic containers for mineral water, some very clean cans. Broken pieces of thick mirror, 8 mm, some fine white sand, and old 33 RPM record player. Safety in the laboratory. We shall often stress this point in our lessons. It is essential that each one of us take all the precautions needed to protect himself and his personal environment. Each of the following recommendations underline an important regulation, but it is only a complement to official legal requirements or to manufacturers' notices. It is essential that you read these texts beforehand. Precautions. Know the theory of the experiment you are considering. Do not attempt anything at random. Study beforehand the physical and chemical properties of the products which you are going to use or which are going to be produced in the course of the experiment. Operator safety in the laboratory. Respect the safety regulations for gas, electricity, etc. Never eat, drink, or smoke in the laboratory. Always wear glasses. Wear waterproof rubber gloves, which will protect you when handling acid or alkali liquid. Wear asbestos gloves to handle molten liquids. Wear asbestos gloves over the rubber gloves when handling acids or bases and hot liquids. Wear leather or waterproof plastic shoes. No cloth or perforated shoes. Have a working fire extinguisher and a container filled with cold water close at hand. If you have an electrical heating system, make sure that the extinguisher is designed to extinguish electrical fires. Mix unknown liquids in small quantities only. Always proceed as follows. Pour a small amount of liquid in a test tube and a little bit of the other liquid into another test tube, close, and keep the tubes away from each other. Mix the content of the two tubes slowly. You must wear glasses when doing such an operation. Never pour a cold liquid in a hot liquid, and vice versa. Never pour a cold liquid in a hot liquid, and vice versa. Never pour water into an acid. Permanent ventilation of the laboratory, in case of the use of solvent. In case of gas heating. Fume hood for dangerous gases.